Alright, so we're going to film a video for Overland and Zed about this GME radio. Let's go. Hey guys, and welcome to Overland and Zed. You join me in the interior of the Fortuna. Been busy in here installing my brand new GME XRS Connect radio. GME sent me this December last year, I think it was, once we kind of knew roughly when this car was going to be arriving, and I've been trying to get around to install it since then. Finally done it though, and what a nice bit of kit. So in this video we're going to install this radio into the car. Being a XRS Connect, everything is in the handset here that you need, and the radio box itself, the little unit, is tucked up under the dash, and it is super tidy. Being a modern vehicle, it's obviously not like a heap of, I guess, sort of space for things like radios these days. Everything is very molded and shaped and cup holdery and phone holdery and stuff. So being able to get the radio completely out of the way is awesome, and it means that when I'm not using the radio, which, let's be honest, is quite often, like, you know, if I'm just driving around daily, I don't need a UHF radio. I can unplug it, chuck it in the glove box, it's out of the way. So yeah, let's jump into it. This is the GME XRS Connect Outback Pack. It's a XRS 330 COB, so it comes with the radio, handset, and the aerial. So I mean, look at this. It's just such a mint little package, and this guy, so nicely made. Tiny little radio. Be nice and easy to bury somewhere in the car, and nice little aerial, and all the bits and pieces that we're going to need to install it. So let's jump into it. Righty, so I originally picked up one of these, which is just your bulk standard like guard mount, and I spent a while kind of thinking about it and playing around with it on the car, and I didn't like the way that it sat, basically. So this is kind of why this project has taken a very long time, but I've come up with an idea where the shape of this fits really, really well up on the roof rack there. So I'm thinking that I can just basically screw this down and put the aerial stub through the hole. And then when I need the aerial, I can just chuck it up there and it'll sit, you know, up above the tent. And when I don't need it, I can take it off and, you know, reduce the height of the vehicle ever so slightly. So my plan is basically to screw this into one of the cross rails of the Rhino rack platform, and then run the wiring somewhere. I might start by getting this bracket on, getting the aerial mounted up on the roof, and then we'll get the wire inside, and then we'll jump into the car and wire up the radio and the hand unit. So I'm basically going to try and tick screw this in here. I need to get this cable down into the engine bay somehow. I know a lot of people do just run them along the side of the windscreen, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing. I have tested this and it doesn't quite fit in the gap, so maybe I'm going to have to put it there for now and then buy some silicone or something, some black silicone, some clear, I'm not sure, and just try and like dab it in to keep it in place. So for now, I've basically tucked the aerial wire up the side of the windscreen here. I've done a few Ks now, lots of high-speed motorway stuff, and it hasn't moved, but what do you guys do to stick these down? Like, I don't want this to come off, you know, in the middle of nowhere and cause me issues or rip or anything like that. And yeah, like it's tucked in behind the, would that be the weather strip thing on the roof and down under here, but this bit is basically out in the open. What would you guys recommend using to stick it down, seal it up? Like, do I need anything, or do people literally just kind of push these in here? Like, my original goal was just to push it down into the channel that's there, but the cable is far too thick. So I don't know, your suggestions, I'd love to hear them. Who runs wires through here? Like, I'm not the biggest fan of this, but it is the easiest way to get it into the car. Let me know. balloon that's coming in. I can feel the aerial cable. It's going to be the worst shots in the world, but I basically need to pull this through, which is easier said than done. There we go. And there is our cable. Alrighty, that's engine-based stuff done. I always get how frustrating it is trying to get wires through the firewall, but we are there and everything is inside the cab. Alrighty, so that's basically the interior part. I know when I did the USB ports, I had a bunch of people ask me how I did it. Basically start from here and just unclick the trim, work your way down, and everything just kind of, I'm going to start at the top. Everything just unclicks, so there's very few screws holding any of this dash together, which makes pulling it apart super simple. So in terms of the radio here, I was originally thinking about putting it over by my knee here, but then I realized that if there's two of us in the car, we can't both use the radio. And I did that once before and it was quite a pain. So I'm going to chuck it in the middle here, coming out of here. I'm going to put a sticky pad next to the gear selector. And I just need to figure out where I'm going to put the little radio unit itself. Look at all that room. I reckon this basically can sit up, whoa, under here somewhere. And I can just cable tie that in the space with all the wires. Like, there's heaps of room down there. Give you guys a real quick look. Super simple. It ain't moving, and should hopefully do the trick. Good old XRS unit nicely hidden away. Right, so I've just run the cable kind of along the opposite side of these, but these kick panels here. I have to pull anything off, just kind of awkwardly squeeze your hands up there and in, and then pop one of these blanks out, chuck in my little pass-through that I've got. And that's that side done, and then I've just kind of got to do some power. Where do I want this? Right in the back. Alright. That guy out. This little guy here. Whoa! This little pass-through guy here. And he's basically going to go into this. Unlucky. Perfect. Look at that. Now, am I done? I'm done up here. So, let's button all these things back in. Sweet, that's cool. So, it took me a little while to try and figure out where to wire it in. I originally was going to do it down in the kick panel in the front there, where Toyota have got a fuse box for all sorts of accessories and things, and I know that a radio draws the smallest amount of power when you're not actually transmitting, but I thought, nah, I'm going to hook it up to the deep cycle battery, and that way I can leave it running at camp. If I accidentally leave it running all night, which I have done before, you know, there's no risk of draining the starter battery. So yeah, I basically ran a cable just down, along, and up to the battery and into my little fuse panel thing that I've got in the back there. Alrighty, so we're all installed. Let's power it up and... oh, check that out. Look at that. One other kind of cool thing that this has is that there's an app, XRS Connect app, and it's currently updating the radio to the latest version. Hopefully you guys can kind of see the screen, but it's just going to sit there doing its thing, and it's pretty cool. You have to find my manual and have a good read of it and figure out all the functions on it, because they're reasonably advanced little units, which is kind of awesome. So when I was picking a radio for this build, I basically had 3 requirements. Number 1, it had to come with a high quality aerial. Number 2, it had to be a handpiece only unit. I didn't want a radio with just the microphone on the end of it, as there's not really anywhere in this dash to put a radio like that, which is, you know, a fairly common problem with most modern vehicles. And number 3, it had to be really clear. And that's when I basically hunted through all the different options, and I was like, you know what? XRS Connect by GME, like, everybody raves about them. I haven't heard a single bad thing, and I was like, why would I not go with one of these? And so far, I'm absolutely impressed with this. Like, it's such a nice piece of gear. It came with everything in the box other than the little pass-through, which I buy separately, which is more than fair enough because every car is different. And yeah, and I'd highly recommend, if your car supports one of these pass-throughs, like having just a place where you can plug the handset in and unplug it and stuff is, to me at least, awesome. Like I've mentioned it a couple of times, I hate cables. Like I've got one here for CarPlay and even that drives me crazy. So being able to keep the cables out of the way when I'm not using them is awesome. And then obviously, like when I need it, I can just slot it down there, it's out of the way, like it doesn't bump my knee. Either person in the front here can access it and have a chat to the whoever's around us, and it's just awesome. So I'm super pleased with how that has come out. Like it's very simple, nice and hidden, and like I know the aerial up on the roof probably isn't going to be to everybody's taste, but I actually quite like it, I've got to be honest. It might look a bit odd if I take the tent off, and maybe I should look in like a fold down bracket or something like that eventually, just to make it so that I can just fold it down when I don't need it. But hey, for now it's all good. Massive shout out to GME for sending it to me. I really appreciate it, and I am stoked to be able to run, you know, a high quality Australian made radio. Anyway, thanks heaps for watching. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Remember to hit that subscribe button. Every time that somebody subscribes or likes, it basically tells YouTube that other people might be interested in this and will help promote Overland NZ to other people. It helps immensely. I know it seems like such a small thing, but it really does help. And if you're into Patreon, check us out on there, all the behind the scenes. We've got a Patreon trip coming up. I need to figure out some details, but coming up, and it helps support the channel immensely and lets us get out there and film trip videos. Like once again, I said it before, I'll say it again, none of the funds from that go into building the vehicle. It all goes into funding the trip, and I've got a really big one coming up in the next 2 or 3 months. So it'll be epic, I can't wait. Anyway, catch you next time on Overland NZ. Woo!